What's up guys, and welcome back to another scooter video. We are going to be introducing the new Honda Aero that I've picked up recently, the 1983 with the variated engine. So we got rid of the Elite that we had with the purple plastics that was in this spot, and we have done a straight trade for this thing. Now to speed you up a little bit, I drove about an hour or so away for this one and transported the Elite there as well. And the guy said he didn't really want to mess with this one anymore, and it was all taken apart. I told him just leave it apart, let me figure it out when I get home and stuff. So here it is, put all back together. I didn't really record too much of doing that, but we do have quite a bit of footage of trying to get it to run and such. But this thing does rip and has new tires. The rack up front is something really cool that I haven't had yet, and I'm kind of enjoying this thing at the moment. I just wired up the turn signals, front and rear, and the brake light as well. The cluster works, the rear brake and the throttle were a little messed up in the beginning as well, but those got fixed too. So yeah, this thing is pretty much well off. It's got some damage in places and such. Where did I leave the key? We got a little Donald Duck that came with this thing, which is pretty cool. But the least favorite thing about this scooter so far is the trunk, because one of the latches broke, but that's not a big deal. You've seen on my previous videos, or if you haven't, go check them out. We do some fiberglass work on some of these scooters here, as you can see on this one, and I'm finishing doing stuff on this one. We got this panel sitting here, so we'll be getting this thing looking nice and spiffy eventually here. But make sure to watch till the end to see us ride this. I'm gonna go take this thing for a spin. Just took this thing for a spin. It tops out around 20 right now. Just got to tune it a little bit, but was having issues with the rear brake cable. Got that situated, and the throttle as well. The throttle wasn't working with the little cylinder and the needle that goes into the actual carb, and now it's finally kind of broke free. It comes back a little slow, but this thing rips like right off the line. So I'm gonna start putting the floor panels kind of back in and get to tuning this thing. I ended up trading the purple Elite we had sitting here because that one wasn't really running, and I needed a rear tire. When I did buy it, it did run, so I knew it did run, and me and this one guy on Facebook ended up just doing a straight trade, and he didn't really care too much about this thing. He had it all taken apart and said he didn't want to mess with it anymore. I also found out that the carb is leaking at the gasket here on the bowl. We're going to go ahead and fix that, and the air filter here is a little too big for this carb, but we can make it work. We struggled to pull off the cover a little bit there, but he wanted to see if this was variated or non-variated, and what is it? It's variated. So that should be sick. Can't forget the dice. Wish I had some blue ones, but red will do. We got some red Honda logos on here, so that'll look spiffy. Alright, so it's super cold outside right now, but I really wanted to mess with this thing, and it was kind of running really weird where it would just keep accelerating really bad. So I tried to reposition the throttle cable a little bit there, and that seemed to help, but I took out the 5-starter, which I think was seized and not working, and I just capped it off there. She's mint. Runs up to 32 miles an hour right now, and on the cluster it says it could reach 50, but who knows? I highly doubt that, but we could probably hit that 40 mark at some point if we get a pipe on this and maybe a new head. But yeah, I'm trying to slowly record clips here and there because it's chaos, it's cold, and Yeah, I have a lot of other projects going on at the same time. So currently I'm going ahead and stitching up the little cracks before I do body work to it. This I'll have to probably remake, but this is looking pretty decent. I put some staples, heated them up, pressed them in there, cut off the ends, and yeah, it'll be pretty easy to bondo the front side, put some fiberglass glue in the rear, shave it up, and it'll look pretty nice, and we'll end up repainting this to as close as a blue we can get this. I'm gonna work on the trunk right now, how this little tab is broken off. I'm gonna fix that real quick as well, and then the trunk won't be hanging anymore. I'm gonna fix this too, and stuff like that. So I came over to this area here, got this kind of stitched up so we can body work that a little later. And then I have this piece here. I'm not really too sure where it came from yet, but I'll figure that out hopefully. All right, so it's another day, and I went ahead and took the Aero back apart, and I am currently trying to diagnose why this headlight's not working. I went ahead and used my Milwaukee battery here to connect this to ground, and then you can go ahead and touch each of these. One is low beam, one is high beam, and we have no light coming from here and no light coming from here, so that would mean this bulb is bad inside here. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of customization because I am not going to buy the actual whole housing. We're gonna go ahead and get in here and replace that bulb. So like some of my other videos, what you're gonna wanna do is grab your heat gun. If you haven't seen any of my other videos opening up taillights and headlights, go ahead and check those out as well, because I give you a little more tips on how to evenly distribute it and whatnot to not break the lens. So go check those videos out if you're interested in doing stuff like this. But I'm just going to go ahead and heat up all around the glass and gently pull around the entire thing to get this glue off, and then we can service the bulb. So once the glass lens is hot enough, you can kind of pry your way over to the edge here. And there we go. So, as you could clearly see, the two connectors in there, right there, those little breaks right in there, the bulb is popped. So, servicing these is not really supposed to be an option. It's kind of glued in there pretty tight, but you can go ahead and cut this hole back here where it's soldered, and then you can slip in a new bulb. I'm going to choose to probably use an LED in this one, so that way it won't be as prone to pop, and it should last a long time. I'm going to be using the angle grinder to go ahead and cut this little solder line here, and then that way the bulb should be able to slip out. There is a few tacks in there, but we should be able to heat that up and get it out nicely. And just like that, we have the bulb cut. You'll have that little inside filament in there. You want to shake that out, and now you have a perfect spot to put a brand new LED, and you can keep the glass portion if you'd like for more of an OEM look. I think I might just keep that little glass bulb in there because it's still nice. I'm just gonna wash it out. As you choose your required bulb, I took one from one of my extra clusters that I had, so I have a little socket. I put a white T10 LED in here and connected ground and positive to each terminal. Then we can go over here and test how it works and if the LED needs to be changed or whatnot. So positive here, and we got the negative here. And as you can see, we have a perfect working LED here. Now we can go ahead and put the factory colored wires back on the scooter, but we also need to figure out how this is going to mount in the actual lens itself. So let's figure that out first. So thankfully enough, this little T10 fits directly in here if you chop it off pretty flat here. And if you leave the glass bulb on the inside, you have a perfect little replacement. So what I'm gonna do is keep it clocked side to side so it can bounce off each side and go straight, and the glass will illuminate it a little bit brighter. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to test this out while it is inside of here and see exactly how bright it could be. So let's go ahead and connect that up. And as you can see, we have a nice bright light for the headlight, and once we got the glass back on as well, it will illuminate it just that much more. So this should work pretty decent for the time being until I get a actual headlight bulb. Now that the headlight is put back together with the new LED, I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. And there we have it. We have a working headlight again. So that'll do for the time being. Eventually I want to get a different bulb in there. This is just a T10, kind of for like side markers and your cluster and stuff. But that'll do for now. As you can see, it gets a little brighter. We'll have to see how it works at night, but that's good to solve. Now all the lights work. Now with the headlight working, the turn signals work as well. I can hear the flasher relay buzzing at me because this thing's probably super old and it probably needs a new relay, but other than that, it takes a few seconds for it to swap over to each turn signal, but that's not really that big of a problem. So it's nice that all the lights work. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. Now with my new Honda Aero 50 put all back together, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. As you can see, everything's in pretty decent condition, and I will be fixing up the rest of it, so stay tuned.